talking about Quez's PRs. So what's your new PR now, Quez?
3.
My PR on a one rep squat is 405, 405 pounds.
Not bad.
Wow.
All right.
I mean, it's
Yeah, what's yours?
you know.
I haven't done I haven't maxed out in a long time on any of my stuff. I do maintenance now, man. Like, like eight reps, probably maybe 6 reps max, but I don't max out anymore, man. Like,
There's no need.
My college years, but as you get older, you gotta like take care of your joints and stuff, man.
Yeah.
So
I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it a little bit in my old age, but no, man, great stuff, guys. A fantastic week. Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Deep and Happy Hour. We have the crew here. Interesting week. The Clarity Act got delayed. That's a fun piece of information, but something else happened, which I'm really happy about, is Infofi. Infofi is dying. Thank God. I've hated that name for quite some time. The timeline has been muddled with AI slop. Quez, I see you just did the cross there, if I'm not mistaken. Well, what are our thoughts here? What are our thoughts on the week's events, guys? I'm curious.
I mean, I guess starting with Infofi, like I feel like this was so late. Like the fact that this could have been taking into account way earlier on, and we're only just now doing it. Kind of whatever. I just think it's a little too late. But we saw like 17% price drop on Kaido and Cookie, or 17% on Kaido and 20% on Cookie. And I'd tip my hat to anybody who tries to build something. Like, the alternative could be just to be a consumer. So like, fine, like, shout out to the guys who are trying to make something.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a net positive add to the space that we're in? In my opinion, humbly, no, I don't think it is. You're incentivizing something that could be easily gamed. Continues to add to the whole theory of the dead internet. I mean, Deep In Project saw this. Tons of, this was like the marketing strategy for tons of Deep Ins. And I mean, even just as a network, Peak Network was also using this. And we're talking about, this isn't like a little $15,000 activation or $5,000 activation. It's $150,000 that people are shelling out for a marketing campaign, right? Where all you're doing is like pumping up vanity metrics. And Zach XBT had a really excellent thread where he's effectively comparing the two, and he's like, "Are you genuinely trying to make the claim that something like whatever crypto Deep In project that utilizes Kaido is getting the same amount of organic impressions as the president of the United States? Like, do they genuinely hold the same weight? No, there's no way, right?" So I'm glad that it's gone. I'm glad that we're probably going to see a lot more organic content. RIP to all the KOLs, like probably down bad, disastrous, but quite frankly, you never really had a key opinion, and certainly one.
No one cared about your opinion.
I mean, for real though, there should be less shilling then, I would imagine, like paid shilling. I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
less paid shilling. Like I can see an argument where it could be used to identify people who are making content that are really actually fascinated about your project and using that as a mechanism to reward individuals. Fine, but did you need Infofi for that? Like, couldn't you make the argument that they're just appearing in your socials anyway, on your notifications? I mean, like I don't know.
I think where it could come in handy is like, because they're still looking to launch like different, not just like looking at projects, but different sectors. So like if you go to Deep In and see, okay, here are the top voices in Deep In, and see what projects they follow, or if you want to learn about a specific, they say it's RWAs, you can go and see who the top voices are, and then go to X and follow those people, because like the X algo is totally effed right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's be real.
It's pretty janky. Yeah,
it's crazy. So like, just because people don't show up in your feed doesn't mean that they're not worth following, I think. So I think for that it's useful, but I mean when Peak canceled theirs, I was like, oh, they're done.
Yeah.
These Infofi campaigns, and it's funny because X came out and said that they offered us millions of dollars to allow us to continue these campaigns, and X was like, we're not interested.
Well, it skews their metrics, right?
Yeah.
Like when you look at the marketing that they're doing, they're selling ad space essentially, and it skews their metrics to the point where they get taken advantage, and their marketers actually don't get the return on investment that they're looking for. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I like the Jonah Blake's tweet on this right here. Infofi being eliminated is so good for CT. There are creators and distributors. Yappers are not creators. They are redistributing methods. They are bad distribution funnels because they are gaming the slots, pollute the time with actual creators. Such a big W. Yeah,
I agree. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's massive.
We'll see people that are actually bringing value get bubbled up to the top again. And, I'm a little biased about our show here, the Deep In Happy Hour, but I also have my bias with the folks over at Unleashing Deep In, the folks over at Deep In Connection, Deep In Digest today, and Deep In. I mean, there's tons of creators out there that are, putting in some actual elbow grease to make something worth reading or reviewing. And those individuals, not to say that they need to be showered with money all the time, but at the very least, like getting the engagement, getting seen, getting promoted on the algorithm. Those are people worth bubbling up. The folks that are just regurgitating the same shit that they found on a website through ChatGPT.
Yeah, and that was one of my main issue with when Brad brought up Peak, for instance. Like below any Peak post during the Kaido stuff, it was always just like Peak is revolutionizing, or Peak is doing this, or Peak is such a, and like when you start seeing those same words over and over again, you just get so fucking turned off by the whole thing, and you're just like, I don't want anything to do with this ecosystem anymore. So you have the opposite effect where like someone who might be curious about your ecosystem now sees all this shit and goes, oh my god, this just seems like fake bots, just like replies. I'm not even going to touch this.
Well, look at kind of the experiment that's been going on with the Deep and Happy Hour crew with like Brad and I. Brad was like, hey, I want to get monetized. Let's be a reply guy, and like let's do this. And I was like, he started sharing things that are like ridiculous, that are like getting like 100,000 impressions.
Yep.
And I was like, I can do this too. Let me try it. And sure enough, I start doing it, and I ended up with like one day I had like 600,000 impressions.
Yeah.
But then Brad's like, hey, I'm going to write this really great article and do this video.
No one
it's
cares.
like, all right, here's 500 impressions. And like, I go over and I post a GIF of Trump being a Chad, and it gets, 100,000 impressions.
Yep.
So
hilarious.
The algorithm is definitely not great. And it will be interesting to see if they can change it to incentivize good content again. And I think the first step's probably to get rid of, social files.
Something I saw too was articles are being pushed now more. So I've been seeing way more articles on my TL. I've been seeing,
have you really?
Dan Coe. He's a really big content creator that does like kind of not like life hacks, but he talks about like ways to improve yourself, like self-improvement stuff. One of his articles has 50 million impressions. One of his articles. It came out 4 days ago. And it just blew up, and I was like, holy shit, 50 million, bro. And I've seen. Yeah,
what's crazy has been a string. He had the first one that went super viral. That was like, if you have multiple interests, like don't waste these next 2 or 3 years. That one like started. The second one that he wrote, which was like how to fix your life in one day.
Yeah.
And that one just absolutely ripped. Funny enough, like I'm actually actively going through that article, taking notes myself. Not because my life is a fucking mess, but just because I feel like there's probably some improvement.
It's a mess. We're all a mess.
There's something there for everybody.
It's a mess.
Always.
And then the last one, I forget what the title is, but he just posted another one, and it's the same thing. It's like, it's insane how the guy absolutely ripped on this first 2 articles. I shouldn't say first 2, but like these last 2 articles, and the third one instantly served up. And that's the kind of thing that I'm down for. Like, if people are offering value of something that they've either, maybe they've heard this advice thousands of times before, but it's being presented in this new way or whatever. Like, sure, like let's promote that guy. That guy's ought to get the impressions and the engagement, and rightfully so. He's just been blowing up.
Yeah.
I wonder the timing of this. That just kind of clicked because people are complaining about crypto Twitter and they're getting pushed down the algo. And then they kind of came out, and the lead dev, and he's like, basically stopped saying GM on everything,
Mhm.
and then came out and was like, okay, the algo is fixed. I wonder if they highlighted these freaking Infofi because they're mostly crypto based, right? I wonder if they identified these and they're like, well, this is definitely fucking up the algorithm for crypto Twitter, and that maybe that's a big reason why they're doing this. I wouldn't be surprised because the timing doesn't align.
Yep.
There's a lot that I think makes a lot of sense, but there's still some changes that are gonna, I think, need to happen. And I think like basically if they flag your account as bottish, you're SOL.
Mhm.
And I who was it? There's several creators lately that they obviously have been shadow banned or whatever you want to call it. They're not getting any publicity whatsoever, any room on people's feeds because they'll do a post that traditionally would be 10,000 plus impressions and it's getting like 100. So yeah, I think there's some hacks, there's some easy ways to like get people up to getting monetized, and I'll do an article on that soon.
You should, because I got monetized, but you got more traction than I did in what you were doing. So you should definitely put out an article on that. Because I mean, I basically just for the last 2 weeks of the year, I was like, I'm just going to be a reply guy for a little bit, and I was able to get monetized basically in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So, I don't, part of that I wonder too is like the last 2 weeks of the year, a lot of people were over the holidays on their phone more probably and on the platform more.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the algo during those 2 weeks was insane.
It's good. It was a good news cycle. I will say that. Like
sure.
there are days that are like really great for it, and there's really being a reply guy, and there's days that are really bad for it. And then what I've noticed specifically in the last 36 hours is just leftist bots that are flooding everything right now. And I hate to say they're leftist, but they're definitely very left-leaning bots. They have like no profile pic. They have like 10 they follow 10 accounts. They have like one, and they're like, you're an obvious bot. And you're just being inflammatory for no reason.
And it's what's funny about that reply guy like strategy too is it's so low effort, but like it's just like Brad said in our chat, as long as you're just a little bit witty with your reply, and maybe your GIF is tasteful or your GIF is tasteful, like it, you like tap into something innate where people just want to like it really fast, and that like helps boost that up. And I mean, honestly, I've gotten way more impressions in the past month than I've ever gotten on my account before. I'm like halfway to being monetized, and I don't even reply that much.
And being a moderate actually is a good thing because it pisses off both the left and the right.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They kind of attack you.
Yeah.
So like if you're being logical or slightly dumb actually works.
Yeah.
And you're not like purposely doing it. You're just like, I don't know anything about this.
I got added that list dumb bitches. I'm super proud of that. Someone added me to a list called dumb bitches, and I was like, I made it. Let's go. Yes.
If you have a soft ego, this is not for you. Just letting you guys know.
Not for the weak.
Not for the weak.
I would like to expand and like offer a little bit more value as well, which is, what we're discussing right now is a engagement hack to getting monetized pretty quickly. I mean, you heard it from these two right here, who got monetized in basically 3 weeks. I also want to say for the professionals out there, this is reply guiding to a specific set of individuals that you're trying to interact with more is also a really great strategy. So just in my professional life, one of the things that I'm doing a lot is I'm doing a lot of outreach. But what I'm noticing is that my DMs are basically buried in requests. Like if these guys don't follow me back, like I'm not going to get seen. So what I've adopted now is I made a list of these niches that I'm trying to penetrate, but things like robotics, edge AI, people who are talking about real world data, obviously a lot of things that are relevant to 375 AI, and just doing reply guy work there, right? So reading these individuals' content who generally, are not necessarily big accounts. These are folks that have researchers that have 900 followers, 1,000 followers, that, they're just sharing their work on Twitter and, doing some reply guy work in that front. While it's not going to get you tons of engagement, they start to recognize your profile and associate you as an individual who replies meaningfully or thoughtfully. And before you know it, that might become a avenue by which you could send DMs and have them want to reply to you. Maybe they're a little bit more curious about what you're working on, what you're after. So I will say, like from the business development, outreach, sales, whatever you want to call this standpoint, reply guiding as a way to get on people's radar is also a really good strategy.
Yeah, build that credibility, and then whenever DPIN does start having some hardware stuff and you're affiliated with them, and might be time to affiliate market with them. So.
Another crypto, not hack necessarily, but something I didn't realize that was out there was CoinMarketCap. So CoinMarketCap actually has a fairly robust like community platform, like a social platform. It's a lot of traders talking about different tokens and like their views on things, but there's some decent articles on there. I've kind of scoured it. I opened a Wolf Crypto page on there, and I'm actually like making content on there now, and I'm reaching out. It's like so easy to reach out to people on there and like find them, because like they might have like 100 followers on Twitter, but then they have like 50,000 followers on CoinMarketCap, and they have like a ton of engagement. So it's I don't know, like that. If you're looking for like really good crypto content or like to connect with people in the crypto space, that I'm not saying everyone, of course, but CoinMarketCap, if you look at their community page, like it's actually pretty robust.
Yeah, I talking to you or Tyler about that. Like if you go and go into the responses and post your like either your X posts or like video content, if you're like go to like GeoNet's CoinMarketCap page, for instance, and you go in the comments and post in there, you can get a lot of traction with that. I don't know if I read this or was thinking this, but I imagine they're going to start pushing video content on X more, because you think about for training AI, especially like training Grok and stuff, they need as much data as they can. Most of these models have scraped most of the internet at this point. So like, I think they're gonna be looking for not just text content, but also video content, voice content, that type of data. And I don't know if you noticed, have you checked out Grokopedia at all?
Grokopedia, no. Is it on Twitter?
No, it's like they're building out like a Wikipedia, but a Grokopedia, and it's like blowing up right now.
Grokopedia? I got it right here. Nice. This is great, dude. What?
Yeah.
I mean, Elon's whole mission there was to kind of have Grok be like this ultimate source of truth. So naturally, right, it seems like a really great website to have. Grok.
Oh my god! It just instantly pulled up information on someone. I like Demon. This is insane. Let me do DeepIn connection. If you're on there.
Hi.
I don't know.
Hi.
You almost made the list, Brad. Hey.
Hi.
How are you doing, my friend?
Good.
I'm glad. You hanging out with your daddy?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Nice.
You can have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we get your PJs on.
PJ's on.
Well, I looked up DeepIn connection. There's electric connection, lesbian connection, daily connection.
That's your new name there, Brad. Lesbian connection. I like it. I like it, bro.
I didn't make the list, guys. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
You'll be there before you know
it. It's pretty cool. You know what's also interesting? I was looking at the data sources for these LLMs, and you know what the number one data source is?
What?
No. What is it?
Reddit.
That's terrifying.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, right. Reddit.
Oh, that's scary.
I don't know.
A little crazy.
That's scary, dude.
Especially with all the Reddit mods that are on a power trip constantly. I saw one that was on a thread of like Venezuela, just like world events happening in Venezuela, right? And one of the Reddit mods posts and he goes, "Listen, so you either agree with the things that we're saying or you shut up. There is no other opinion." And it's like, all right, cool. So like trying to find an agreed sense of truth among multiple perspectives, that's just completely out the window. Got it.
Creating an echo chamber, like the definition.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Reddit's gotten bad.
Reddit has gotten bad, dude. You can find good info on, again, very niche topics, but if you're looking for thoughtful discussion from someone like in a how would you say that, like in good faith, a good faith discussion from somebody from the other side, like assuming that you have different perspectives, not the place.
Yeah, you won't find a Gypsy Crusader Reddit article or subreddit on there.
I use built-in Grok quite a bit. Like if there's a post and you want to like dig in further, you can hit the Grok button, and it gives you a lot of sources though. Like that's the thing. Like I use it for research a lot because then you can see the sources for it and dig in. Because you really have to fact check everything. And there's like people are just lazy. And they're just gonna like believe anything they see or post bullshit all day. But it is a really good source, to be able to research and validate things.
That's why I like Perplexity too. It gives you all the sources, and Perplexity is just fantastic for research, deep dive. I'll do like really deep dives on companies or stocks I'm looking to possibly purchase and invest in, and it'll just lay it all out, dude. It's amazing.
I would say, just to add there, like using Grok to even elaborate further. Like perhaps there was a post that you saw and maybe you didn't capture all of it very well. Like, yo, Grok, explain this thread to me like I'm 5, right? Like I just think it's a very, very lovely tool, especially if you're using it on mobile. It's like built in, like right at the very top right.
I get kind of offended, bro, when Grok explains things to me like I'm 5. It just sounds overly dumb, and I'm like, well, I'm not that stupid. Damn. Like,
no, I do like it. I like it. If you cannot explain something to somebody else and you haven't quite sorry, what is it? If you can't explain it to someone as if they're 5 years old, then you haven't quite got it yourself.
I agree.
When you have a 5-year-old, you'll understand a lot better.
Brain work good. Your brain work better.
Yeah, right? Seriously. But you know what? The best part is you go at Grok, ask the question in the reply, and then like
I love doing that.
You get engagement that way. Just saying.
Yeah, it rips.
Especially when you're looking at like financial stuff, and I'm not like a big economist, financial guy, so like I do that a lot. I'll be honest with you. Like, all right, explain this to me like I'm 5. I'm not Brad. I'm not Tyler.
I'm not Brad.
So, I got to do what I got to do, guys.
Yo, jumping on the topic of Deepin here for a sec, I want to give a quick shout out to the space that Will hosted yesterday on the Daba Network. I really I came in a little late. I was doing some shopping at Publix, and so I'm listening while I'm doing my shopping. And Deepin Nomad is going off and explaining basically like the assessment of values of certain networks. And the part that I caught was, if you have a network that is only generating $4 million a year, and there's a million people, a million nodes, right, i.e. a million operators, then you have to ask the question about whether people are willing to continue running this node for effectively $4 a year. That's probably not a very compelling network to participate in. Whereas if you have something like 375 AI, in which there will probably only, at least in the US, right, like be, my personal opinion, probably 500 nodes, maybe 1,000 nodes tops all over the US, and it's generating $100 million in revenue a year.
Yeah.
That seems like a pretty compelling, revenue per node breakdown that I think is maybe something that a lot of folks are not grasping in terms of Deepin. So conversations, if you guys haven't heard that conversation, it's a great one. Really recommend tapping in. Maybe we could share the link here in our replies, but it just, to me, was a signal of we are maturing, right? Like folks are starting to come around to how to properly evaluate certain networks based on the number of nodes, the revenue that's being generated, the sector that they're targeting, the problems that they're solving, and I loved it. I thought it was
here's his post regarding that too. Yeah, like in the future, Deepin project should report earning per node as a key piece of financial info, as this is the single best indicator of their viability as a business. I 100% agree with that.
Well, I think we're kind of like, everyone's kind of in realization like the same story is continuing to repeat itself over and over on these projects. And I think Deepin Connection on his latest stream about 2026 Deepin planning was kind of paramount to like saying, hey, this is what's historically has happened. This is my strategy moving forward, which is I'm going to go for these projects that are early on, that have not had their peak moment, essentially, that are early. And if you invest early enough, you win. Yeah. Because in the long run at Deepin, once you have that dilution of deployment, you're going to see that earnings are really kind of subpar. You know what I mean? The network can sustain itself without you. Well, early on, it needs that. It needs the early token output to.
But that assumes that the nodes are equally splitting the rewards. Where, like, something like in Helium's case, for instance, like the more value you're providing, like the more you're rewarded.
Well, there's here's so my strategy, of course, is like mining some of the older projects like Helium, like Hive Mapper, right? But buying tokens for upside,
Yeah.
no. And then I did highlight GeoNet at the end that I think can break the mold as a long-term project that can actually right the ship. I actually interviewed Horton again today. I'm excited to get that posted. It was a really good discussion. We talked about that. And I was like, listen, man, you can be our knight in shining armor and come and save the day for Deepin because we're on freaking life support if you look at some of these charts right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. Like, I think that GeoNet can right the ship. Look here, some of these older projects, like it does make sense to mine like Helium, but they're fighting an uphill battle now where they put so many tokens out there early on and their revenue's finally hitting, but they've got to play catch up, man. They've got to get rid of all that sell pressure, and it's an issue. I mean, that's why their charts look like the way they do, you know?
The psychology of deployers here is actually going to be an interesting one too, because if you deploy and you know they've removed incentives for not great locations, so it only takes X amount of deployments that aren't really paying out for people to be like, I'm done. There's no point, you know, because it just seems kind of arbitrary sometimes on how they do it. So I think that's going to be another side is you have some guys that are really turned off that are early on, and I think that's going to continue to happen. And
That's okay.
historically, you know,
Yeah.
people are going to keep finding the latest and greatest thing, and I think that's just investing to a T. You know, like everyone's just if you're early, you're good.
I think. What's up, George?
Georgie.
George.
That's what I'm doing, George. By the way, yeah.
I've met up with George before in Chicago for lunch one time a couple of years ago. He's a good guy, a Helium guy. Here's the deal, though. Like with the setups, like it should be aligned that way. It should be the more value you bring, the more
Sure.
you make, and like you know, that's one of the things that sucks for Helium is that they kind of were, you know, pioneering all of this. So they had to try all the different things that now we can learn from those mistakes or other projects can learn from. And they had to give out a lot of tokens early to prove out that could even work as a model, you know? And like people were literally putting hotspots in their window and making 1,200 HNT a day, you know, like in the early days. Yeah, like an IoT hotspot, you know?
That's
so it's like
crazy.
It is crazy, but it's like those are the things that now, unfortunately, is coming back to bite them a little bit because they have so many tokens out there that they didn't utilize in an efficient way. And that's where 375 AI, like people right now, it's funny because I'm in like some discords where they're like, oh man, I'm like barely getting any tokens every week. But then on the other end, they're like bitching. They're like, oh, well, they give out so many tokens in that project early on. I'm like, so what do you want, dude? Like, do you want to have a project that's going to succeed and that your token holdings can be worth something? Or do you just want them to give out a bunch of tokens at the beginning? Like, I don't. It's funny how people think in this space. But I don't know if you saw my post quiz earlier where I was like, Deepin's dead, and while everyone's asleep at the wheel, 375 AI is installing edge devices that are going to drive them to 9 figures in revenue.
Yeah,
You know,
I did see that post.
Yeah,
it's like
I'll pull that up.
it's
Did
just,
you see that video? The video was fucking sick, right?
It was cool.
We had a
That
drone
video was
operator
sick
out
as
there.
fuck, bro.
So it's funny, like, and then watching the interview with Harry, you know, they're like, so what about the token? Blah blah blah. And he's like, look, man, like TGE took up a lot of bandwidth. We're excited to be able to get back to what matters in building out the network and doing the things that are going to drive revenue, and the token will follow the revenue. It's like, man, that's a breath of fresh air. Hearing that, like maybe as a token holder, you're like, man, I want to pump my bags like right away. But it's also kind of nice. It's like, okay, they're focusing on the things that matter. They're very thoughtful in this. They've done this they've been very successful in the Web 2 world. They also understand the Web 3 world. And, you know, the fact that they really, not to say they don't care about the token price, but it's not a priority to market and pump their token. It's a priority to build out the network.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Like,
Well,
I appreciate
and
that.
it makes being early on EAT 375 AI that much more of a benefit to us that are paying attention.
100%.
Because eventually the market's going to catch up to the fact that this is a killer project. The revenue is going to come in, the buy and burn rate's going to come in, it's going to do some cool stuff, and we're going to be sitting pretty like, let's go. And
Right.
I think on EAT right now, it's really one of those, like, you're gonna have to put the money behind the token, the project, because it's not one of those you're gonna be able to use 375 Go right now and really crank out a bunch of tokens unless you're a big traveler. That might change whenever you get tasks. I think that's gonna happen soon. Locally, to be able to do stuff, you'll be able to earn more. But right
Yeah.
now, if you're just an ordinary guy who runs a 9 to 5, you're gonna earn just a few tokens a week, or up an epoch, right? So
And that's probably, I understand people's feedback in that sense. I'm sitting in the server all day, and I get that people want to earn more, right? But to your guys' point, right, it's a matter of also doing so, of rewarding tokens relative to what the value of the network
Sure.
is putting out. And right now, the biggest value drivers of the network are unquestionably the 375 edge nodes. One additional thing I'll add here is, like, there's still, before I get into that, like, there's a ton of community members who, like, don't really know what we do, but they have the gall to come into the server like once a week and just see, like, this project dead, this project's gonna die, this project's not doing anything, because you are not paying me tons of money that I'm going to sell immediately. This project's gonna die.
Yes.
Which I think is the most hilarious fucking thing on the planet. That's just an observation. But one really great just a piece of news that I got earlier today was from the Fractals guys. They're sharing a lot about how much demand, how much questions that they're getting, both from angel investors, other deployers in the space, about wanting to be fractionalized node owners. And I just think how much of a privilege it is to have this kind of demand in this market, where people want to deploy their capital and deploy hardware with 375. And I just, not to be drawing comparisons with other projects, I know that, maybe in the case of Helium, like, people are questioning whether it's worth deploying more, and I feel very grateful that's not a struggle that we're currently having. Like, people want to deploy, they want to get their hands on hardware, and just feel like it's a good problem to have.
Yeah. No, and it's funny. So you deal with this on, like, a larger scale than I do. Like, and because people watch my videos, and like, I have a big bag of EAT, and I go into these Discord, and people are like, "This project is dead, blah blah blah. It's going to zero. Look at my earnings in the app this week." And it's just like, I get it, dude, but, like, listen, there's bigger plans for the app. Okay, I'll say that much. Like, this is just kind of this is kind of the beginning. People are downloading the app, it's running in the background, you're earning a little bit, great, but they have much bigger plans coming for the app. But there's also the edge nodes. You have 375 Street coming.
Yeah.
You'll be able to get fractionalized ownership into the edge at some point. Like, big picture here, I mean, Harry has said this several times, the goal is to get to 9 figures in revenue, and in multiple 9 figures of revenue at some point. And it's like, if it was a normal founder, I'd be like, yeah, okay, dude, like, great, like, pie in the sky. But this guy's freaking done this before. Like,
Multiple
he's done
times over,
this,
by the way.
Yeah, and this is right now. You look at the era that we're moving into, where data. People have always said data is the new oil, guys. It's going to be the data that is new data. Because these models are data hungry. If you can get unique data sets, like data, the value there is going to be immense. And that's exactly what 375 AI is doing. It's like, so we are very early. And to Brian's point, yeah, if you want to get a big bag in this, it's not going to be from contributing. Unfortunately, you can do it while the market's down, but you're going to have to be able to pony up some money to buy the tokens right now. That'll change at some point. But at that point, I don't have a crystal ball, but the market cap might be a lot higher by then.
Well, what's interesting about that, Brad, is, like, the DeepIn has changed so much since I've been involved. This is really the first, I wouldn't say, like, solid 8 to 12 months I've actually had to really look at how to invest my capital and do it very, very intelligently. Where it was hardware. I'm a hardware deployer. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to deploy this. It's going to give me this capital. Then I could take that, live my life, pay it off, deploy it elsewhere. Right now, it's like, I'm not deploying hardware right now. I'm figuring out the best way to set up for this next bull run.
Yeah. Smart. I mean, and to your point about the app there, Brad, I think the idea or like there's like a massive conflation of people from like 6 years ago who were farming airdrops and got like tens of thousands of dollars, and I think that expectation is still persisting, even with all of the bearishness, even with all the crazy shit's happened in the past 6 years. People are still expecting they're going to hit some kind of return like that. And it happened with Silencio when the Silencio airdrop happened like 2 years ago now, or a year and a half.
Yeah.
I got like harassed. I got death threats, man. It was
Yeah,
insane.
I remember
people,
that.
Yeah, people were just like freaking out, going like, "Oh, I only got like $500 with the tokens," and I'm like, "That's awesome, congrats."
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I'm just like,
app.
yeah, and I'm just like, that's sick. They're like, no, you don't understand. Like, that's bullshit. And I was like, what do you mean it's bullshit? Like, oh, some guy says he spent money on plane tickets to travel, and I was like, no one fucking told you to do that, dog. I was like, no one told you to go spend money. I like literally in all my content, I said, don't buy the token, just use the app. And yeah, it's ridiculous, man. But
Yeah, like Grass paying out, four figures for people. Like
that was probably the most
not
insane
doing
deep in
much,
airdrop I think
which
I've
was
ever
insane.
By far, yeah. But remember, just if I could refresh your memories, it was not immediately positive price action on the Grass airdrop.
Yep,
Like,
I sold too early.
Yeah, I sold too early too.
People did a ton of shit talking. They said this is nothing. It's gonna be dead. It's absolute bullshit. And I think we saw the price drop all the way down to like less than $1 or something, and then it ripped all the way to fucking 350 or whatever it went to. I don't remember exactly.
It's down like 95% right now. It was right, something like that. It was at 360. Yeah, so
yeah, it's down bad. And I don't think they did a second airdrop, did they? They never did. They kept pushing off their second airdrop.
Mm-hmm.
They just never. We'll do it later. We'll do it later.
Yeah,
just waiting for market conditions.
Yeah. We got pissed.
That Brian, like you make a really good point, and something that like my mindset's obviously shifted on is when does it make sense to buy the token and when does it make sense to deploy? And I think a hybrid strategy can make a lot of sense. If you're looking at it for just like $1 return and like the best, I guess the most efficient return is probably the token if you time it, if you're buying in extreme fear. But I'd just say being a deployer too is useful in ways. Like I learned how to freaking set up a business, like got to introduce a lot of new people to crypto. I probably wouldn't be like, have a channel, have an X account if I hadn't set up a high mapper fleet, and setting up Helium and all that. Now I look back and I'm like, the money I invested in hardware, I could have invested in tokens and done better actually.
That's interesting. I think for me, like all the money I invested in, I was like, okay, at worst case, it's about a year on return based on what the accrual is. And I think I shot broke even about what my expectations were, just because the market did not cooperate. But my like initial deployment, because I had like a spurt where I deployed a bunch of stuff on Helium. And then I was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm tired of dealing with this. I'm out. And I let it run. And then all of a sudden I look back and I'm like, holy cow, Helium is like booming. And I just sold everything. I was like, boom, sold. And that was a really good move because it paid everything times 3 or 4. So, but now I'm like, I'm on the stage. I'm like, I'm not deploying anything. So it's not worth it.
So like if it's a brownfield site, I mean, what does that cost? It depends on the cost, right? I mean, that's just your time. And like for Hive Mapper, I had a lot of HTCs out there. They've slowly like died over time, but now I can find people selling bees, unopened bees for $100, $150. That's worth it to me.
Yeah.
To like go in because I already have the drivers. I can cherry pick my top drivers to move over to bees. Yes, it's $10 a month from a Helium plan, but like you do the math on that. If I break even on my investment at current prices in 2 months, 3 months, that's worthwhile for me versus buying the token, in my opinion, for that same amount of money, right?
Mm-hmm. But it's time, right? Like for it depends. It depends on your personal situation. For me, it's about time more than the initial capital to deploy. So I like my time. I like to be able to be like, I'm going to sit on X for 3 hours and, reply guy, or not, so.
I will add here, which is, in terms of evaluating, I think that another element is also your circumstance, right? It's like, if you know that you yourself are on the road very often, or to Brad's point, maybe you have access to a fleet, or you're looking to set up a business or something of the sort, then yeah, like perhaps a hardware strategy does make more sense. I would argue though that perhaps most of the participants in DPIN are really just enthusiasts, right? There were a lot of guys and gals and individuals who bought hardware to like, oh shit, like I'm DPIN pilled, like I want to do everything under the sun of DPIN, I'll deploy anything and everything. And they kind of just have like one or two of multiple projects out of just like love for the game. And a lot of those folks are kind of learning the lesson now of like, well, yeah, I bought a Wayru fucking the router or whatever, and they died. And I got demo, and I got really involved in demo, but they died. I thought it was funny. I don't know. I think you guys shared it in the chat. Like the craziest crypto comeback. I'm just like, I don't even know what to tell you.
Wait, they made a post, right, about the craziest crypto comeback?
Yeah, what if we had, and it was the avatar
on a helium post, yeah.
Wait, on a helium post or demo?
I don't think it was. I don't think they retweeted. I'm going to show you the tweet I saw.
They posted.
What's crazy about them though is like they are. I mean, you look at what they've done in Japan. You look at their selling device through Amazon. They've got a lot going on in down South America.
Scroll up.
And you look at their market cap right now. It's not out of the realm of possibilities for them to have a big comeback. Like actually. Now not.
What are they doing with crypto then? Like what? Like why did they specifically say crypto comeback?
I might be able to ROI out, guys. It'll be great.
Their token could appreciate a lot. And like, look, I think it's possible, but that's to me. If you want, like Brian, you were there on my stream the other day. If I like the info I put out in that stream, basically all my learnings kind of into like a 20-minute segment at the end of that stream. If I had known all of that 3 years ago, I would be like way multiple times over retired right now.
Yeah.
Serious, like dead serious, like not even kidding. So I encourage people to watch that, but like Demo falls in that category where it's like, yeah, they could bounce back, but I think there's way more upside looking at a project like 375 AI right now. I think there's more upside looking at projects like Alki, probably even Rover, GeoNet, some of these other projects that haven't popped yet.
This is Demo, by the way.
What's really interesting, Brad, about like kind of your top picks here is there's 5 of us on this crew, Deep in Happy Hour, and pretty much all 5 of us are all focused on the same projects. We all spend an obsessive amount of time looking at the market, looking at these projects, and we've all watched the market for the last, what is it now, been 15 months together, and we're all at the same point where we're like, these are the projects we want to be focused on. And that's all independent. Now we all feed off each other, and we all look at everything that we post, and we probably do 100 120 posts a day on our private chat. And it's for me, it's astonishing to see all of us so laser focused on these same projects. So hopefully we're all right. Hopefully, or we're all really wrong.
It's an advantage that we all, but at the same time, like I think there's probably projects out there that do that. Obviously, there are that are popping up that aren't on our radar. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah. I actually I try not to watch too much other crypto content at all. I mean, there's a handful of guys. There's like some macro guys I watch that really cover more like traditional TradFi stuff. Just because I like to create my own thesis and like my own determination on things. Like I don't want to have my judgment clouded too much by some of the other CT accounts out there, because you either have perma bulls that just post shit that doesn't even make sense constantly, or you have your perma bears. You have people that are just shilling stuff, and you don't know if they're getting paid to shill stuff. So I try my best to like our chat. I'm in some Discord groups that I interact with people, but try my best to do my own research and come up with my own determinations on what to invest in my thesis on things.
Smart.
It's worked out pretty well so far.
the other side of it is in crypto, everyone's all you have is Bitcoin shillers that all they want to do is talk about Bitcoin. And reality is, you put $1 in Bitcoin, it doubles in value. You have $2 right now, and it's going to take how many dollars? How many?
But actually,
trillions of
believe it or
dollars?
not,
Like,
Brian, I actually love listening to the Bitcoin people, especially the TradFi Bitcoin people, because I learn a lot about different sectors that they're involved in outside of Bitcoin by listening to their
true.
spaces or like following their content, because they might not just talk about Bitcoin only. And I'm not even talking about like the Bitcoin maxis. I'm talking to like maybe some of the more like
yeah.
level-headed people, especially like on the Wolf Bitcoin spaces that Kate hosts. I really like listening to those people a lot because they makes a lot of sense, and I like learning on the TradFi side of things. Like with Rover, for instance, we brought up Rover. I actually looked up not Rover's competition necessarily, but I've been researching LiDAR companies now. And I found some like gems, and I was like, wait a minute, like this is actually huge. It made me even more bullish on Rover because I was like, oh, wait, this company's making this amazing technology that they just partnered up with another big company. So maybe, this translates and bleeds over to this, to Rover. And yeah, so it's just, I think that TradFi has a lot of information out there, or TradFi accounts have a lot of information out there that can help enforce or help form theories that or reinforce, I should say, that you developed.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed to watch William, you specifically kind of dive into the TradFi a little bit and share a lot about what you're working on over there, as well as like Brad's connection to it and like hearing you guys' market analysis, knowing what's going on and hearing all that. That's kind of been an eye opener and like for me on the learning curve of things. Has been nice because like I said, I've just been focused on hardware.
Yeah, well, how can you like learn? My whole thing is my thought process is how can I make the most of the information I get about like the not small scale, but like the hyper focused like plays if I don't understand broadly what's happening in the world,
Yeah, I mean the macro stuff definitely matters and makes a big impact on everything, but like it's good. Like, look, and 2025 made a lot of people Bitcoin maxis. Let's be real. Like it was a very painful year for
it made sense. Yeah.
And I think that ultimately your goal here should be like if you're in deep end, because it is high risk, right? It's an emerging category. These are low cap projects. We've seen a lot of them come and go. Like there's an opportunity to make a lot of money here, obviously, but it should be to diversify too. Like I think Bitcoin for a long-term hold, like should be a part of people's portfolios. And then looking at TradFi, I covered a lot. Most of my subscribers probably don't give a shit about TradFi, but like I covered gold and silver a lot early last year. Precious metals had a great year. I covered energy stocks, which I think this year energy stocks can do actually really well. Still, there's a lot of room to run there.
Especially with what Trump's talking about with the Emergency Power Act or whatever that is.
Yeah, like solar. First solar I covered, and it popped off because looking at the energy sources you can bring online quickly. Natural gas, is something I'm looking at right now. Maybe like even turbine companies for natural gas. So like, there's a lot of opportunities. But you look at like the IPO for Circle. Dude, that did a 10x. William, you're on that.
Oh yeah, I was like, this
William
is
was
insane.
there.
There's no way it keep going up, and it just kept going up.
Kept going up. Yeah.
Bitcoin did like a 14x. Iron did like a 20x. Like the stock market is some of these things are trading like meme coins, like alts generally do. So like, I think you're missing out if you're only focusing on one little area. I do think there's a lot of promise in depending if you're in the right places and you're in the right projects. But I think it is important to also like take the blinders off and take a step back a little bit because there's a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah,
I think there used to be a detestment from crypto people of the traditional markets, which was like, there's no way I will ever make crazy money in traditional markets the way I could in crypto. And at a time, that was probably true, but in recent years, it certainly changed a lot. And now we see, as things continue to mature, capital is basically kind of circulating across both. People make their plays in crypto, and then they make their plays in TradFi, and then they kind of run it back. And
it's kind of in this really nice convergence quest.
Yeah.
And I think you've got a lot of guys that started out maybe in crypto that are like now looking at the stock market going, yeah, not having to do all the work that you have to do in crypto, but like investing in a 12% yield for the S&P 500 a year is pretty darn good now that I
Well,
made
it's
some
like,
capital.
and you can look at USDAI, like we talked about before, where like eventually you're going to get like 20% yields, and that's kind of fucking insane right there in its own. I think that I look at TradFi, I look at macro as like a way to again reinforce those theories that I have. Like, so for the reason I'm so bullish on 375 AI is because I'm so bullish on robotics and AI in the future. And I see the path forward, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, like these cameras, these edge nodes can have a huge part to play in helping create this robust infrastructure for self-driving vehicles, outside of just LiDAR, and I was like, okay, that's a very reasonable use case outside of like the millions of use cases I could spout on about 375 AI here. But just understanding that robotics and AI market a bit more made me more bullish on Alki, more bullish on 375 AI. Heck, Ex Machina too, like the Deus token, like that's insane. Getting exposure to those companies that you can't even buy on the stock market yet, which is insane to me. Like that's such a great way for like a great use case for crypto, capital formation into those companies, access to those companies that you can't go on Robinhood and just instantly buy up right now.
Yeah,
they had a good space today. The crypto.
I need to listen
robotics
to it still.
space.
Shit, I need to listen to it still.
Yeah, I mean, there were some questions around like defense tech and
Hell
how
yeah.
robotics is going to play there, like
Cute,
whether
cute.
these are like ethical. It was a really good conversation, actually.
Yeah, Nils had a spicy take on that. Have you guys watched the interview I did with Ex Machina?
I watched some of that. I need to finish it.
Bro,
I watched part of it. Yeah.
That was a crazy interview. Like he really went into. He's a smart guy.
Right?
Mauricio's awesome.
Mauricio is really smart, and yeah, he went into like the entire stack of robotics and all the things they're looking at, like not just the humanoid manufacturers, but like all the ones making the actuators and like the software and everything. Like, damn, dude, that space is gonna blow up.
And going back to Will's point, though, is like about how he kind of sees 375 as a place to deploy some capital, and it's like I think for a lot of people, there's probably some overarching theory, right? And like for me, simply, I think robots are going to be a part of our future. That's like my overarching theory, and then there's like pillars that support that theory, and inside of those pillars are companies that are focused in certain areas that support that pillar, and I think that's generally how, if you're going to form a thesis, that's probably a good way to look at it. It's like, what is this overarching thing that I believe in, that I think is going to happen or manifest? And then where can I deploy my capital that supports the manifestation of that overarching thing?
100%. The way I liken it is if you go back like 4 years or whatever to right before ChatGPT launched, and it's like that aha moment for AI. I think that moment's coming for robotics. Like, I think that's where we're at right now, is like on the very front end before robotics like pops off in the coming years. So it's interesting too. So with like self-driving vehicles, talking about Rover, I was telling with Mike Horton today, I asked him, I said, so there's this like, this debate about whether LiDAR is necessary or not for autonomous vehicles. And like Elon is known for just doing cameras.
Yep.
And he said, and Mike's opinion is because the cost is coming down for all these different technologies. He's like, I think radar combined with visuals, combined with LiDAR is the future, and have like a fused sensor. And I was like, well, do you think that Elon is going to end up doing that? Because Elon's been very outspoken against using LiDAR. And Mike's answer was, well, he'll have the technology. They might call it something different. They might not call it LiDAR, but it's going to basically be an alteration of LiDAR. Is his prediction. I was like, very interesting. I could see that, like have like a fused sensor that has all the technologies in one, so he doesn't have to call it LiDAR.
Yeah.
But
LiDAR is great for picking up things like velocity as well as oh my god, like distance, like perception in a sense, where like camera is really good at like color and getting the actual information, where it's like, oh, is that a stop sign? Like, because like LiDAR is not going to tell you if it's a stop sign or not, but camera will. So I think a fusion makes more sense there to me, and that's what I'm kind of bullish on. I actually just dumped some money in a company called Ava. They just popped off since they just got announced with their I guess NVIDIA is buying or utilizing their LiDAR technology. But they just popped off pretty recently. I'm expecting they're going to boom, which is why I'm also buying Rover token.
Nice. Yo, guys, is it cool if we run through some of the questions? We got our homie Robert asked a
Sure.
question earlier about what are your guys' predictions on what Conduit is going to announce this month. Well, I think we should ask our Conduit bull in residence, Brian.
Look at Brian, so confused. He's like, "Oh, wait, they're making an announcement."
No, I read it earlier, and he actually messaged me on Telegram. I was like, "Hey, did you catch my question? I was going to get food." I think we're gonna have some good. Brandon messaged and said that he was gonna. There's gonna be a 2026 roadmap coming out soon. I'll kind of like let everybody know what's going on with Conduit. From what I can say, I think we're gonna have some major partnership announcements going on, and they're not gonna be Web3 partnership
Nice.
announcements. I think we're gonna be Web2 partnership announcements that have serious revenue behind them. So that's all I think I'm at liberty to say.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean that's solid to me. I know that Brandon's been building a lot recently, so we haven't had the pleasure of his company here on the show. I cannot wait for that to change. But happy to hear that announcements are still coming. I hope there's another DPIN day on the horizon. I would love to attend another DPIN. Oh, I didn't get to attend the last one, but I would love to attend my first DPIN day with y'all. So Brandon, if you're watching, let us know, man.
We missed you too.
yeah, they've been insanely heads down ever since they've like launched, and they've been working behind the scenes to really, it's hard. You're trying to drive actual economic activity. In order to do that, they have to deal with actual businesses that are doing real world
Yeah.
stuff, and to service those clients and make sure everything's working. You can't just launch something like this out into the world and have 10,000 people jump on it and be like, oh, there's all these issues. You really need to have the customer service behind it, just like a traditional business model. So I'm glad the approach that they're taking. It's frustrating for everybody who's behind it, looking at it, but I think it's going to.
I mean, if you're going to have a time to do heads down building, I think now would be the time.
Now's
Like
the time.
where DPIN is just like in the garbage can,
yeah.
like with sentiment. I think this is the best time.
Yeah, and if you were an early buyer of hardware, you should be getting emails occasionally, once or twice a month right now, kind of letting you know what's going on. And there is activity for those guys behind the scenes that they're not just being very public about. So like me, like I bought hardware, I'm getting emails, I can go into my wallet and see what's going on with the return on investment basically already being there. So it's just still really early, and they're doing a lot of like what other people are doing. They're not really trying to get their token out on every centralized exchange. So it's a whole different ball game with Conduit. So
it's an interesting topic, actually. Starting off with centralized exchange listings or not. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
It hasn't paid off really for anybody that's done it lately.
You mean a SEX listing, like a centralized exchange listing? I think overall it's a good thing if you can get the right deal. So like I know there's some projects that, I mean, I'm not going to say names. I've already told you guys in the chat, but there's a certain project that has a TGE coming out soon or hopefully soon, that is in talks with certain central exchanges that they're not getting the best deal out of, so they don't want to deal with them. They're like, hey, we would like the access, we want the exposure, we want the liquidity, but if you're trying to take a bunch of our tokens and dump them on our community, we're not down with that. So I think that's an issue that these projects have to face. But overall, I think getting on a SEX is good if done correctly, if done in a a good way, a healthy way in terms of tokenomics. But I do think the exposure is good and the liquidity and access is good overall, because some people just don't want to take the extra step to swap on a Phantom wallet where they can just go buy it on Kraken or Coinbase.
Mm-hmm. Well, a TGE is a good thing, right? But usually TGE
I don't know,
happens
Brian.
like
Is it
on.
a good thing?
I don't know. Is it?
Can we just be
Seriously,
free
lately,
TGE
it's not been
forever?
great.
Like I don't.
Apparently, you can. I've seen some projects that are never going to have a TGE. But it's a good thing. But the issue is there's nothing else other than, hey, we're getting to the point now where it's like, oh, we need to have our TGE. It's just like a natural time for us to do it. But then you're focusing on centralized exchanges. You're going to launch and everyone's going to dump. It's going to tank your token and you have nothing to show for it. So waiting to the right time to do it, where you have revenue coming in, where your tokenomics makes sense, where you're not going to just massively dilute your entire project. That seems to be the key to success right now. At least that's what we're thinking, because we really haven't seen a project do it crazy successfully.
This is my opinion, not that of 375, but I am vehemently against it. Like, I think it's the worst thing. I think it's the worst deal on the planet. It's so much money for absolutely no fucking reason. And not only that, it's like once a token starts performing really, really well, and by performing I mean like, especially in the case of a DePIN where there's revenue coming on chain, people are trading it, people are speculating, etc. Like, the sexes are going to want to bring it on anyway for free. And like, I've seen this happen thousands of times over for fucking meme coins. All right, like those meme coins didn't pay a single cent to start being traded on Coinbase or Kraken or anything of the sort. So why the fuck would a business spend north of 500K to get their fucking token listed on a sex?
Exactly.
It's the most predatory thing on the planet. I believe in the Alki strategy, launching on a DEX, calling it a day. There's a saying in Spanish: "El que lo gusta bien y que no se joda." If you like it, good, and if not, go fuck yourself. Like,
nice. I love that.
I agree. I've changed my mind on this because, like, last market cycle, I think the whole idea was like, you have to be on a centralized exchange. I also think, though, that like meme coins do give a lot of tokens to these to get listings in a lot of cases. Like,
do they?
I think so. I think they give a pretty big percentage of their supply to get listed in a lot of cases. It's not even just the exchanges. If you want to get listed on like CoinGecko, like they want a percentage of tokens.
They want like 50K, I think, minimum too.
It's crazy. Now in the bull runs, they charge more than other times. I actually think that this might change a little bit. I was actually talking to Ariel about this, and he said that in the future, with more TradFi kind of getting involved in crypto, and we're going to have more exchange options and more options for trading tokens, it's going to put a lot of pressure on these exchanges in crypto, and they're going to have to like kind of lower their costs and fight for people to want to get listed. We know with 375 AI, like you guys are listed on a couple of big exchanges. I don't know what they paid for that. I think it can benefit you though too. Like if we see the market take off, this year, like we're hoping, having it more accessible for people to buy the token can be a good thing. But we haven't really seen it work out for a lot of projects. GeoNet's a good example that they focus DEX.
Yeah,
and look at their chart. The chart's way healthier than most DePIN projects.
I would just add. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go. What were you saying? Good.
No, I was gonna say that like I agree that it can be a benefit, and a lot of people, especially outside of our space, if they're looking to deploy capital, the route that they're going to take is probably a centralized exchange. But like, look at Coinbase's recent pivot. They are actively becoming a DEX. I mean, not literally, but they're giving access as if they are a DEX, even though they're not, right? And it's all because they know long term they can't compete. Yeah. What it's going to come down to is eventually some wallet is gonna come out, and it's going to be like the easiest thing ever on the planet for people to use. I mean, I feel like Phantom's pretty much already there, but like, it's going to be this crazy ass wallet that everybody in retail uses. It's going to be the most beautiful thing, and they're not going to know the difference. They're just going to be able to search whatever the coin is that they're looking for and deploy $100. It's going to link from their Apple Wallet, or they're using Apple Pay, the credit card that they have on file, and that's it. It's a wrap. It'll be abstracted away entirely. So I just don't. I think the power that sexes have today, sure, okay, fine, like it is a benefit, and I'm certainly not trying to talk down on the strategy for example, at 375 deployed. I mean, we're very grateful that we were able to run with our 3 exchanges. I'm just saying that if Quez were to run his own project, like, no shot I'm spending any money on that. No
and I think you make a good point about the DEXs are getting more sophisticated, right? And I think at some point, you start blurring the lines between, is this a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange? Kind of like Hyperliquid, for instance. And I honestly, I think that the game over moment is when companies like Charles Schwab have a DEX. in their brokerage. Like they just they oh, you want to buy tokens? Here's our little platform. Buy whatever you want. Here you go.
The UI is going to
do all that shit. All of that shit's coming.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, the UI is going to improve so much, and then it gets funny. You just have your AI agent tell it what to do, and it'll do it for you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it's going to be funny when we look back. it's like like with the LLMs now. People are like look back and be like, wait, you used to use a search engine and have to go through different pages and click on different links and blah blah. It's going to be the same as like, wait, you had to like make sure you had enough Ethereum. There's $100 in gas fees, and you had to bridge assets, and you had to like they're gonna laugh at us.
Yeah. They're gonna laugh at us and say like, oh, you had to press the buy button manually. Like, why didn't you just tell your AI agent to trade this for you? Right? Like, you dummy.
Back in my day, I used to walk up a hill both ways with no shoes on in the snow when I used a DEX.
I just signed 3 transactions.
Yeah, bro.
That's right.
For real, man. The Ethereum fees in that last market cycle. Oh my god,
ridiculous. Yeah,
I couldn't make any money. I was like, oh, trade this meme coin with $100. Oh, it cost $200 a trade. You're like,
crazy.
Where do you think like Capture Go? Is it similar to 375? What's Capture Go?
I don't even know what Capture Go
is. So they're an app that came out some time ago. I don't know if they came out before 375 or not, but they recently started getting some pickup.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, what do I think about it? I mean, like, you know, they're I don't even know what they're tracking. The whole, if I'm not mistaken, it's like location activity data. So it's like you're just determining where people are at. I mean,
it's a crowded space.
It's a very, very crowded space. I don't know that. What I will say is like the value driver is whether or not people are paying for this data, point blank. So like if Capture Go is just having you fill up all their, their database and they're getting all of this value from you and like all the other individuals that are using it, but no one's actually like, it's not driving any sales. There's no real demand for that kind of data. Then like, I will say this, if there's nothing else, like if it's just that and nothing else, then I worry about its long-term standing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just reading it right now, and it says, how do I earn rewards? Earn points by reporting road incidents and traffic conditions, and by passively sharing anonymized location data. So the first 2 points there, I mean, Nadix already crushes you because you don't have to, Nadix and Hivemapper, I mean, you don't have to.
Waze.
You don't. That shit too. Yeah, well, like Nadix like rewards you for just putting your camera up, like, and the camera picks all that stuff up already and reports that. So it's like, why? Like the step that I have to manually type in and report shit. Nah, fuck that. No one's doing that.
Like the way I look at the 375 Go app right now is, it's collecting useful data right now for sure. But they have some unique stuff planned with the app that's going to leverage a lot of other verticals and revenue streams. And then you look at what they're doing with the Edge, like all the stuff we're talking about right now is monetizing the digital data. And that kind of already has a lot of that's existed for a long time now. It is a crowded space. The Edge is now like collecting that physical world data that no one has really, like, so.
And sorry, Brad, but speaking about the crowded space, like this was something that was crowded even before crypto pin projects came around. Like, this is not novel in any way. And to your point, like, what Brad is alluding to is this new this version 2 that's going to come out of 375 Go. That's very much centered on capturing real world data using your phone. Like, that is a whole nother vertical of value capture that doesn't exist today. That I think is going to be I think it's going to be a lot more compelling for prospective buyers than what 375 Go or Capture Go or even GeoNet released a mobile app not too long ago. Also, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I got nothing against the Capture Go guys. I joined their server. I see what they're about. I can't attest to the validity of their project. Like
he just got booted from their server. Everyone, he just got booted.
Yeah,
they're watching.
The founders are not necessarily like public, and the guy who's like the most vocal there is a KOL Infofi farmer, and we just saw what happened.
He's
So, like,
no.
He's
We
done.
haven't seen a post from him today.
He really needs
Yeah.
Capture Go to go off now, guys. He really needs Capture Go to really
he
be
needs
successful.
It, he
now.
needs it to
He's
rip in
cooked.
order for his audience to still find him valuable.
He's a key opinion leader, man. We all care. We all care. He's a key opinion leader. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, what I like about 375 Edge, that device is it's not easily iterated upon. You know, no one's gonna like go like buy like a Raspberry Pi and a camera and put that on a billboard and like capture the same data. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that can be easily iterated
High-end
upon.
hardware,
So it's
like it's professionally
it's
installed. You look at these
high-end hardware.
installs, like it's not.
Professional
It's,
grade, dude.
yeah,
I
it's not
couldn't
like
do that,
John.
yeah.
It's not like John on his, after work getting up there and putting shit up there.
he's
Like
got his little butt crack out. He's like, oh, hang on, let me just install this up here.
it's like
I mean,
But he's got the
professional
wrench.
electricians out there. Like, all
Yeah,
right.
like my partner. That's my partner. I just did that.
Even
Impression.
beyond
yeah,
that,
and then you look at the apps, like now it's so easy to iterate upon apps at this point with AI coming in. It's like it's another thing, like, okay, like what is sacred, what's not, and IP is going to be an interesting argument moving forward, where you can just recreate anything you want with a few pushes a button in 45 minutes of
Cloud
time.
Road.
So
100%. I'll also say this is like even beyond the electrical engineering and network engineering knowledge that's often needed for these installs, there's also another layer for 375 specifically, which is like you have to be certified to even get on a billboard in the first place. Like there's a whole ass certification that enables you to get on any billboard anywhere in the U.S. and like legally fair point.
Is that
fair
because it's
point.
so high up and it's dangerous?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Specialized hardware to get up. In some cases,
it's
you
like
can
a
use ladder,
forklift certification, guys. It's all
but
right.
like there's just a lot.
I have
There's
that. I have a
just lot
forklift
to
certification. OSHA loves me. I went through all the tests.
say. So
I used to work at Sherwin-Williams. All right, guys. They made us do a bunch of stuff, especially the forklift certification. Well, he said there's literally
That was-
nothing in testnet at the moment for me to use as a truck driver. Most projects fade after TGE.
yeah. So he said no projects. I'm assuming you're
So you're
talking
not.
about,
So he's
like,
not doing
everything is
things like
launched,
HiveMapper or Nadix probably because like they're post TGE. But
and they're just
yeah.
not
If you see,
sending
this is
it.
what I
right?
was saying earlier. Is like if you're based on your circumstance, if you're considering what hardware to deploy, like perhaps in your case, if you're driving around a lot, this is for Mr. Alex.
Alex.
If you're driving around a lot, like I would maybe look into something like Natex or HiveMapper or something that like you're not going to change your day to day, because you're working, you're driving around the country already. Like I would monetize that further, aside from like your
Or
job
Rover. You can do
drive.
Rover too.
Rover is another one as well. Like
Rover's probably worth
Rover's
it.
a good
Yeah.
one.
that one's also incredibly early on, and use that to monetize further because in your circumstance it just makes sense for
I
you.
mean, you're getting
More
paid to
sense
drive
than
already.
talking
Yeah, might as well make more money.
Yeah.
more sense than buying
Well,
a
I
token,
think-
in my opinion.
Get it.
Not financial advice, just
Buy a HiveMapper B on eBay for freaking $100, dude. Like,
straight up.
why not?
Yeah.
And you're not going to make like a killing per week right now, but if the market bounces back and we see Honey do a 5x, or more, like all of a sudden that turns into a little bit more money for doing what you're already doing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember just like a year ago, we would see all those images of people's like dashboards and they'd have like 6 cameras and like a device and like that's gone. I haven't seen one of those pictures and images in ages.
Oh,
And he said he
So,
replied,
doing all of them.
Yeah,
All
he's doing
right.
Nadix
Respect, sir. Respect.
OG, but
Alex, if
I'm
you're,
mad
if you're in the
Tyler.
server, I don't know if you're in our Discord server or not, but I would love it if you could tag me, man, just to say what's up. That way I know who you are in the server. If
Yeah.
you're there.
For real. And then we have a trivia, whatever, saying less than 5 months till GeoNet halves again. We see
True.
the first project that is regularly deflationary.
It is true. Something I did call out on GeoNet on my live stream. Brian was there, but they do have a lot of token unlocks happening this year, by the way, that you take into consideration.
Mike's
Like,
just gone.
Oh,
Disappears.
Mike was like, we're all holding.
he's like,
Don't worry about
He's
it.
winks at you. We're all holding. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I don't think he's like satisfied. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
Like
no.
He's a
Yeah.
hungry guy. He's a hungry
That
dude.
dude's already could be retired.
Yeah.
He sold his last business for like 50 mil.
Mike's cool. Mike's cool.
Yeah,
hungry.
Mike's
He's
awesome.
hungry.
But they have 30% of
Anyway.
their tokens are unlocking this year. Just let you know. But
Looks like you
again,
know me. Oh.
30%. Let's
know
go.
me. You
He
know
said I
me.
was
I knew
early
that,
in
dog.
all of them. Nice. Good for you,
know
Alex.
me.
You gave me a shout out.
Oh,
Quez, come on.
know
He's
it's
like,
an
you know who
out.
I am.
See, but that's not fair because like people have different usernames.
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's different.
So I probably know exactly who he is in the server, but like I don't know.
He's like,
Alex
I'm outside your
here,
house right
you
now,
know?
Quez. What do you mean?
Yeah, shit. Let's see.
Anyway, so we've been trying to wrap for 20 minutes.
Okay,
now.
it's
Nobody
a good
knows this.
conversation. It's a good conversation.
But
That's been
every
good.
time a new topic comes up, we're like,
Yeah,
we
well,
gotta talk
I
about
love
it.
talking about it. That's why I love these
So,
shows.
Talk about it.
Should we do final takes and
let's
wrap
do
this
it.
thing up? or
Down.
no? Anybody got a final take? Who wants
Brian,
to
you
start?
start
Brad,
since
do
you're so antsy and ready to do it.
I'm not antsy, but I was just pointing out the facts. A final takes. Go listen to Brad's last stream on Deep in 2026. I literally like 3 days or 2 days before that, I was like, Brad, I want to know how you're allocated.
Can't
And-
attest.
And then he's like, boom, does that stream. And it like literally I was so impressed by it. The thought process was good. It was kind of like a kick in the pants. I needed to really pay attention to this next cycle to take advantage of it. And he kind of did say, hey, this did it. And he kind of showed the comparison. Like if you bought in here when we talked about it and you sold at a high or near a high, it would have been like a 35x or a 10x or whatever it is. And gave some reasonable expectations for some of these projects moving forward. So I really like his thesis. I appreciate it, and I'm gonna be following it as best as I
There
can.
you go.
I
Boom.
Appreciate that. I was gonna say, like, I think that's probably one of the more useful videos I put up because it was like, here's what I did really well, and here's where I messed up, and here's how I plan to not do that next time. And like, yeah, I showed like, here's where I got in at the right time. Here's where I should have been more aggressive with taking profits, and here's how. Here's the correlation with like fear and greed, for example, and how you can, I can better deal with that moving forward. So it's like, I think is a holistic, really like my learnings from the last 3 years in like a 20-minute video. And then how I'm positioned and why, why I'm in position in these projects. And yeah, man, I would encourage people to watch it. I think that was valuable. And then be on the lookout for the GeoNet interview. It was actually probably out of all the interviews I've done, I think it was like the most seamless, like it was a really good conversation. And then I got Nils coming on Sunday night, super late. So I'm going to have this weekend be doing a lot of research, but
Nice.
Interviewing Nils at 9 p.m. on Sunday. But looking forward to getting that out too, man. I think Aoki's going to be a beast. So be on the lookout. Have a lot of good videos coming out. And everybody be grinding, baby. Now's the time to be grinding.
Yes.
I saw this post that was kind of funny. It's like, we've had like 3 months, guys, to like accumulate at this point. And I don't know how much longer we'll have, but once the market takes off, it can happen very quickly. And it's just, people are going to look back and be like, man, I wish I had accumulated. It's like, dude, we've had a long time this time around.
I looked, Brad, when the last time like we hit after QE began, we hit, I think, peak market conditions at like 7 or 8 months post QE. So if that tells you kind of the timeline, if it follows the same historical trend, we have a few more months to hit peak. So you could get in now and still do really well. And
I piggybacking off that, I don't know about the Clarity Act. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I think they're still going back to the drawing board. I think Brian, I think he was a little bit more rash than people had hoped with going public with all of his no longer backing.
Yeah.
But like, I think you got to look like when they announce who the next Fed chair is going to be, I think markets will react to that. And I think as we move into Jerome Powell being out, I wouldn't be surprised for us to see markets start to move in, ahead of that, knowing that rate cuts are coming. I think that you could see smart money start to position. We could see a bounce there. So we'll see. But I agree, Brian. It was like 6 to 7 months after QE started. We started on December 1st, basically. And we started buying up T-bills. So we'll see. Hope.
I love it. I love that. Quez, I'm going to have you take us out, so I'm going to go next here. So be ready, Mr. Host Man.
I don't have my, just so you know, I don't have my mic. I'm talking through my hearing aids.
We're going to let you sing. You're going to sing us a beautiful ballad at the end. But no, I want to reiterate what Brian said. Definitely check out Brad's streams, everyone. He has amazing information on there, amazing stuff on macro, but also, deep in, of course. I'm excited to watch his last stream. Excited to watch or finish the video with Ex Machina as well. So I'm excited for all that stuff. Excited to listen back on some other spaces as well. But just like Brad said, it's the time for research. It's the time for locking in. I mean, that time was probably 3 months ago even, but there's still time. There's still time to lock in. There's still time to double down, find those investments, find those bets you want to, plow capital into. Because if you really want to make a difference, you're going to need to have a sizable position if you want some meaningful returns there. So that would be my advice. My other advice is kind of more philosophical, but the reason I'm holding a golf club here is I've taken up golf recently. So I just want to say, don't forget to enjoy your life, everyone. It's a wild world out there. A lot of geopolitical tensions right now, lots of uncertainty. So while I do say lock in and work your ass off, make sure to go outside and actually touch grass. Spend time with family and just don't stress out too much. The world is can be a crazy place, man. The world can be a crazy place, so just don't let it get to you. And try to think about the things nearest and dearest to you, and just enjoy yourself, but also lock the fuck in. That's my advice. Quez, I'm throwing it back to you.
Yeah, I don't have anything too profound to say. I think the guys already made a really great point here. Guys, we're very lucky that we get to listen to individuals like my fellow co-host here. In my opinion, again, I might be a little biased, but these are some of the most well-educated, well-versed people in the space. They take a lot of time to really understand what's happening. I know myself, I'm learning from them every single time I speak to them in our group chat. So it's a very big privilege. And especially with reference to Brad's prior video where he's talking about how he's positioning himself for 2026. I think it takes a tremendous amount of vulnerability to share where you did well, where you made mistakes, and how you're thinking about doing things moving forward. So I think you'll be hard pressed to find other people that are speaking that candidly. And I encourage you to definitely lean in, but then also challenge, right? Like if there was something maybe you disagree with, whether it was on this show or on Brad's show or wherever, definitely speak up, let people know how you feel, and see if you can find some common truth. And that's I think wherever the overlap is, that's probably where some semblance of truth is at. So that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this show. This has been another awesome episode of the Deep In Happy Hour. I do not have my microphone equipment set up, so I will sing.
I'll beatbox
on the way out. I love karaoke, so no. Actually, I'm actually going Frankie right now.
It's not bad, actually.
It's the good life, full of fun.
Hell yeah!
Seems to be the idea. Come on, give it to me. Yeah,
I love it. This is great.
But you hide all the
Don't quit your day job.
Come on. I know you like this one. You won't really fall in love because you can't take a chance.
Quez is singing to Three White Boys.
Honest with yourself. Don't try to fake romance.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your